Wrinkle-free distress is one of my very favorite techniques. Using a rubber stamp, I generally like to use a floral image. We're working with the rubber side up and we're applying the distress inks to just small selected areas. In this case I'm applying pine needles, which is a green color, to the leaves. And here's a tip for you. On this particular one, I oftentimes like to work with a very light color, such as yellow mustard seed, and I apply this all over to the flower bloom, and this way I get a good background color on the flower, and then I add more color to the flower by overlapping with darker colors, Dusty Concord, which is purple. This way I make sure that I don't have any skipped area on the image. So I've done the purple over there, and now I'll apply some other colors, maybe this red, making sure that I get full coverage on the bloom. Now what makes this a watercolor is that we then very generously mist the stamp with water. That was about 6 pumps. And then when we stamp it onto an absorbent watercolor type of paper, we're going to get something that resembles a hand-painted watercolor image. For a large stamp like this, I like to walk my fingers over the block, and that gives me a good impression. And you can see what I've come up with here is something that resembles a watercolor image. Now, without re-inking the stamp, I can see what I can get for a second generation with a few more mists. This one will probably be a lot lighter in color and more watercolor look. And this is all about experimentation, ladies. Once you learn these techniques, you can experiment to see which look works best for you. So there's the difference of the two. This was the first one, and then this was the second generation without re-inking. Here's another stamp that I have already inked up, and it's had some sprays of water as an overspray already. And let's see what this one comes out like when we stamp it. Again, a floral image. I oftentimes like to do a floral image when I'm working with the brushless watercolor because it's a recognizable image and something that we anticipate being certain colors, green for stems and colorful blooms. This would make a beautiful front for a cover. Just add a sentiment to the side. Cover for a card perhaps, or maybe even a book. And then finally I've already gone ahead and inked up another stamp. This is by a company called Outlines, and it's a very beautiful and ornate detailed stamp. And we'll spritz this one up and see what kind of image we get with this. I used many colors on this as well. And this is brushless watercolor. And again, with a large stamp, I think it's a good tip to walk over it with your fingers without rocking it or moving it. And that'll give you a good impression. I think I prefer the flowers on this one.